Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Organics Show. This one is another awesome special edition episode. We are out on location at the moment in the Brisbane Mount Coot-tha Botanical Gardens, and I'm here to meet up with Karla Pound, or Karla in the Wild. Now, Karla is an amazing woman. She is a strong, powerful woman, bringing back all of our, lost skills like bushcraft, hunting, survival, and all of these types of things. Karla was a contestant on the TV show Alone in season 3 here in Australia, and she was put out into the wilderness on her own to try and survive. And I don't know about you, but I would find that very, very difficult, disconnected from all of the people in our lives that we care so deeply about. But Karla's story is fascinating. She's got so many amazing stories of her travels, working with different companies like National Geographic, doing tours and things. And I just absolutely had to have her on the podcast to have her join me and share some of these stories. So if you're watching the video, you'll be able to see us here in the Botanical Gardens, and you can see some of the conversation on the video. But if not, still, you're going to get so much from this episode. So sit back, relax, enjoy being taken on a bit of a worldwide experience of survival, bushcraft, and all of the above. So without further ado, here is our conversation with Karla from Karla in the Wild. About your initial inspiration for being an outdoors person. Where's that come from?
It definitely didn't come from my family, which people are pretty surprised
Really?
about.
Well,
I didn't grow up that way at all. Not through my family anyway, but from the age of 4, my parents put me into Girl Guides. So I was a Gumnut, a Brownie, and a Girl Guide. So I did that for 12 years. And then my weekends were spent hiking, camping, abseiling, kayaking, learning to tie knots, building fires. So that kind of got me into it. And then it was so nice to be led by these women that were so encouraging to create you a space to be independent and test your skills and kind of feel things out. And, I was that typical overachiever that had the sash with all the badges, that got full, had a second sash, had a bag. But it was great because it was everything from like pottery to mountaineering to swimming to archery. Like, it was just such a great way for a young girl to grow up and just try so many things to see what you liked. And then I feel like even now as an adult, I never grew out of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I still do it. It's like, what's next? What's the next accomplishment, next achievement? But yeah, definitely Girl Guides. I think it's contributed to who I am today, for sure.
That's interesting. I know a lot of people that have found so much value in that kind of thing, like Girl Guides, little like scouts or whatever you might call it for the different ones. I did a little bit of it, but I certainly wasn't open to all those opportunities that you seem to have had. Is it like something that you think a lot of people should try and do, like especially for kids? I have a little boy now, so it's like, is that something that you reckon really helps kids have an appreciation for the outdoors, for all these basic survival skills and things that seem to be a little bit lost?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, particularly if it's not something that you can provide yourself. Like, if you're not in a situation where you can take your kids out camping or can't take them hiking, because let's face it, everyone works ridiculous hours these days, so it can be challenging. Or if you're living in a city, I think just exposing kids to nature is something that we're losing. How often do you see kids climb trees and make mud pies and catch tadpoles anymore? It's not really a thing. So I think having a space like that where kids can go and interact with other kids and just create that foundation of being in nature. And I think for mental health as well, it's a really great thing for kids to have that escape. And, you certainly can turn a career into it later in life. But,
obviously.
For sure, absolutely. But I think it's just being lost in today's society, with technology and stuff. So, if kids have the opportunity to do a group setting like that, because it's camaraderie and it's team building and everything, and it's a social thing as well, so it's a win-win.
Yeah, I think that's a really important one too, that social thing, and then having good role models as well. So is that something you continued on for a long time and then just thought, I love these activities, how can I find a way of making them a job or making it, like, how did it transition into what you're doing now?
So most of the drive for me when I was younger was wildlife in particular. Cool. So I started doing wildlife rescue from the age of about 14. So my parents, or my dad in particular, was really supportive, and my house was a menagerie. I had a ridiculous amount of possums and wallabies and heaps of birds and reptiles. It was insane.
And this is up in Airlie Beach?
No, I actually grew up in Sydney. So I left Sydney nearly 15 years ago, but that's where we grew up.
Awesome.
So I had a bit of a bush area around us, but very much suburbia still.
Yeah.
And I was really thankful that I had that passion from a young age, and I got into zookeeping. I studied zoology when I first left school, and I thought that was going to be me forever as a zookeeper. That was my passion. I really loved it. And then I kind of just fell into tour guiding. So I started travelling through Outback Australia, just on a road trip with a bunch of friends, and I went to Uluru and did a sunrise camel tour. Wow. I got chit-chatting to the owner of the camel farm, and he offered me a job on the spot to be a cameleer.
Wow.
And I was like...
A cameleer? I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I was like, move to the desert, work with camels. I can't think of a reason to say no. And I was meant to be moving to Cairns to run a zoo up there. I was 21. It was a really great step up in my zookeeper career to run a zoo, or just like supervisor. But yeah, I totally changed my path, and I ended up moving to the desert and working with camels and got into tour guiding, and it's just been one thing after the next. So I think for me, and my best advice I give to people is just be open-minded. Like, don't be so stuck in your path, because you'll miss the opportunities in front of you. You know, and then from that, I got into naturalist guiding, and then I became a skipper, and then that led into driving airboats, and then helicopters, and then now into expedition. And it's just... Crazy. Even now, at the age of 37 next week, I have no idea where I'm going to be in a year, 2 years from now. I just really open-minded, go with the flow, say yes. I've said yes to jobs that I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I always work it out when I get there, you know. So
that's so cool.
Go with the flow. Don't be scared to take that leap.
You seem to have this attitude that's built in that you're like, yes, why not? Almost like not why, it's more like why not? And you're just diving into these things. I don't think people innately have that kind of openness, like you said, open-mindedness, but willingness to just throw yourself into something a little bit unknown, especially. You're just kind of going, I'm just going to go give it a go. Let's see what happens. Yeah. Is that always been you? Is that, like, how do you foster that? How do you develop that if someone doesn't have it? Like, I'm a little bit reserved sometimes with things. Not too bad, but I'm kind of reserved in going, I have to really calculate a few things, going, oh, if I did this and it means I'm losing that, or if I gain this and it could lead to this, and I'm sort of like weighing up the pros and cons. I feel like you're just like, yep, no more thought. Yeah. I mean, I guess the thing that I've sort of come to realise is that I'm not scared to fail. You know, nobody's born an expert at anything, and I'm not an expert in anything. You know, I'm a Jill of all trades. I can dabble a little bit in lots of different things. Yeah. So I think once you get over that, like that it's okay to fail, then that just kind of opens up the door for you that, oh, well, you know, if I make a mistake, then it's a learning curve. And I've had mistakes in my life. You know, I've had incidents and things that have happened, but that's all experience. Yeah. And when things do happen, I look back and go, do you know what? I'm actually glad that it did happen. It wasn't fun at the time, but I've learned so much about me. I know what I'm capable of. And then when I do go to do the next thing, I'm like, well, this is way easier than that last thing that I just did. So I'm fine, totally fine. True. I definitely didn't grow up that way either. Like my family were very stationary. Like I went to the one primary school, the one high school. My family holidays were an hour away from where we grew up. Like we were very homebody people. Yeah. And I think for me, I just wanted to break free from that. So once I got old enough to start traveling around, I just got addicted to it, I guess. It was the complete opposite of how I grew up. Cool. But yeah, it can be a daunting thing, but what I say to people too is like, if you do have something you want to do, take a job, move into state, whatever it is, nothing in this life is permanent. Mm-hmm. People get so built up about, you know, making that big move. Yeah. It can be in your head a lot more than what it is. Once you get there, and even if you don't know what you're doing, it'll work out. Yeah. And at the very least, you can turn around and go back to your old job, your own home, as long as you don't burn your bridges, you know, leave in the right way. Yeah, yeah. Or you'll learn something about yourself. You will, or maybe learn that, hey, I gave it a go. I don't want to do that now. Or it'll be networking. You'll meet someone else, another door will open. I've moved into state for a job, and after 2 weeks went, hey, it's not the job for me. Yeah. But I then met somebody, and, you know, it opened up a door to a job that I loved, and I ended up staying there for a year. So just give it a go. Yeah. Like I know it's easy to say that, and for me, I don't have a mortgage. I don't have kids. I don't have anything really holding me down, so I can go out and explore a bit more. But again, nothing's permanent. Just have a crack at it. It's really true, because you can just pivot again if you get into that position where it's like, oh, this is not kind of what I thought. Pivot again. And like, that's a skill to just not judge yourself in terms of that, oh, I made the wrong decision, or like you say, kind of ruminate on it a little bit and say, no, it wasn't the thing for me, I need to pivot. But you can, and you meet these new people, you find out more about yourself. It's something that I've seen a lot of in a lot of people, something I'm trying to do more of myself. And, you know, now that we've got like family and stuff, we've got more considerations and things. But it's, as you say, really cool kind of mentality to have in taking you to these different parts. Do you find that like those experiences are ones that they obviously shape you, like you say, you kind of, it makes you who you are and you kind of think, but it also, you get to try all these things and you get to figure out what you like and what you don't like, and you're not going to get to the end of your life and be like, oh, I wish I tried that. Oh, what if this, like, it could have been like that, or I should have tried that. And I feel like that's one of the biggest things that people, like, you get upset about later on in life, is you didn't give these things a go, or when that opportunity was there, you should have thrown yourself at it, because it's only a short little, like, as you say, not permanent part of your life. Do you think much about regret and these things later on in life?
Yeah, I do. You know, I think that I would rather have a go at something and fail at it and tick the box and go, okay, you know, I gave it a good solid crack, but I'm satisfied that I gave it a good solid crack. You know, I tried. And it can be a hard thing to have a goal and something set in mind, and you put time and effort and sometimes money and it doesn't come into fruition. But again, for me, it's satisfaction in itself. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they always say that you regret things that you don't do, for sure. And I think that's just, like you say, like, I would rather be on my deathbed and go, wow, I led a really incredible life. Some parts were hard and didn't go to plan, but God, it's a story to tell, you know?
Yeah.
It's the only thing that one thing I majorly regret in my life is when I was younger, in my early zookeeper days, there was a bit of a window for me to be a presenter for Totally Wild that we all grew up watching.
Yeah, okay.
I did a bit of filming with them, and they said to send in your CV, and I chit-chatted with them for a little bit, but I never really pursued it. Yeah. And that was my one childhood goal, and that sat on me for about 4 or 5 years, that I didn't do something that I really wanted to do. Okay. I had my heart set on it. I mean, that time's passed now. Totally Wild's not a thing anymore. Yeah. But everything now for me, I have a different attitude. Is I don't have dreams, I have a plan. Cool. And once I shifted that mindset, it's things that you can put in place to make it happen. Or if I'm ever feeling like a little bit lost or in between jobs and not sure what I want to do, I have like a vision board or like a scrapbook, and I just flip back through it and go, oh, that's right, I always wanted to do that. Yeah. Oh, I'm just going to look up a course. I'm just going to go and do a workshop. I'm just going to do one little tiny step towards that goal. And sometimes it takes years, and sometimes it's a short-term thing. And I don't think you can ever have too many plans. True. Or goals, or like dreams, or whatever you want to call it.
Because like I'm a bit like that with a list. You know, I've got all these things. Like, oh, I'd love to do this. I'd love to learn this, or whatever. How do you pick? Like, how do you go? You've only got a certain amount of time, right? So how do you, like, choose, or what's the thought process in that? Is it just whatever's drawing you in that moment?
I'm very big on just following what's in front of me at the time. Cool, So for me right now, my shift is changing a bit from expedition work to more bushcraft and survival and hunting, which just seems to be the opportunities that are coming my way off the back of a loan and just doing survival camps. So I'm like, okay, is this where life's kind of leading me? Yeah. And even when I became a helicopter pilot, it was the same thing. I was driving airboats at the time, and the boss came over and said, have you thought about flying helicopters? And I was like, oh, no. I went home and researched it. Within 6 months, I was at aviation school. So I just, again, when opportunities come your way, I'm just going, okay, I might just need to try and feel it out. And yeah, I had like vision boards on my phone as well, which I update every maybe 6 months or so. And if I again feel a little bit lost, just look at it and go, that one seems like achievable. I've only got a short amount of time. Yeah. And in terms of jobs, like for me when I was younger and wanting to get into the outdoor space, again, being open-minded and willing to move, I would just pump my CV out to 30 different companies that looked cool. I was like, I'd love to do that. Looks amazing. And out of the 10 that came back, then I would start to have interviews and pick and choose and go, well, I kind of let the universe decide a little bit. I've applied, and don't just go for that one job and have your heart set on it. Just put the feelers out there and see what comes back.
I like that. It's kind of not being too attached to any particular outcome or goal. I feel like I've been stuck in that before. just kind of going, I really want to, especially like, say, music was one thing. It's like, I want to be playing music around the world. And I feel like maybe being so fixated on one goal might have closed off other things that I would have noticed at the time to go other places. Obviously, that's pivoted now, but it's a really, really interesting one. But just kind of going back into the things that you're doing all the time, like looking at your profile and the life that you lead, all these stories and stuff, you know, like on Instagram and that, we typically are sharing the highlights, like the best parts of our life, right? And like, so I might share, hey, I got married, like, look how glamorous this is, went on holiday, glamorous. But like your life is literally all highlights. Well, it seems to be all highlights, at least. And you very rarely see the ups and downs of some people's journey, right? We'll get into Alone in a second, because I feel like that was a really cool capture of those types of things for you. But what is it like doing these constant expeditions, constantly in a different part of the world, soaking up all these new experiences? What's it like for you? How do you rationalize that for yourself? And then tell me a bit about what you are doing and where it came from currently, expeditions, these types of things.
So currently now I'm working as an expedition leader for National Geographic. So I've been with them for just over 2 years. I've been in expedition for 3 years. I worked for an Australian company before that. So I generally work in the South Pacific. So I do Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, French Polynesia, like Fiji, Samoa, that kind of part of the world, New Zealand, the Kimberley in Australia, and I do Antarctica as well.
Yeah, that's insane.
Over the summer.
Antarctica.
Yeah, that's
over
amazing. Yeah, it's wicked. And yeah, I guess on social media, people's lives can look glamorous, but to be honest, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
I have my issues, and sometimes things happen, and I'm now starting to share a bit more of that on social. Like recently, I bought a 1983 Unimog, and I had a catastrophic brake failure as I was hitting Brisbane City, and I was, beside myself because I nearly crashed and could have potentially killed a whole bunch of people. And I shared that story, and I was in tears, and just to show that, I'm a real human.
Yeah,
things
absolutely.
happen. Not everything's perfect.
Yeah.
But in terms of my job and my general lifestyle, I wake up every single day excited to go to work.
Yeah.
And I know how lucky I am to have that. Mm-hmm. It's such a rare thing to really, down to your core, love what you do so much and go to bed at the end of the day so satisfied with a smile on your face and amazing memories.
Yeah.
But I've created that life for myself.
I was going to say, I feel like you have.
One of my mates, I used to say, I'm so lucky to lead the life that I do. And my mate, Sam, was like, you're not lucky, Karla. Like, you've created it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it really took me a bit to take a step back and go, I guess you're right. Like, I have. Like, nothing's really fallen in my lap. Like, I've taken a chance time and time again, and I've taken jobs, like I said, that haven't always worked out, and just having that resilience that builds up more and more over time. I am lucky that I found a passion at a young age that I could build a career around, which was based around wildlife.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, it's so cliche, life is what you make it. But yeah, take a chance and just sign up and do things even if it scares you, and it always leads to something great.
It's a testament from what you were saying before, like just being open-minded, giving everything a go, and then you'll be surprised where it leads you.
Yeah.
And then you can be living a life that you're like, what is going on? Like, how am I doing this?
Yeah.
I'm like seeing you last week or whatever is like somewhere amazing, and I'm just going, like, she's loving it, the living her best life type thing. It's like she's absolutely killing it. But the passion that you have, right, is what brings other people in. So if you're passionate about what you do, then other people are gonna like be affected by that, be drawn in. And then it just gets that snowball rolling. Yep. So I feel like if you do get to find your passion nice and early, or whenever it is, throw yourself at that like wholeheartedly, and you'll be able to like really make some things happen.
I couldn't agree more. And passion for me is the most attractive quality in a human. I don't care what you're passionate about. It could be bees. It could be sunrises. Like, I don't care what it is, but to hear somebody talk about something they genuinely love. Like, I had a woman one day say to me after a tour in the Kimberley, she's like, I never thought I'd be so interested in termites. I'm like, right? They're amazing. Like, because when you share your love and interest, it's contagious. People want to listen and draw it in, no matter what it is.
Yeah, very, very true. So then with these expeditions and things, how did you kind of develop the survival side of things, right? Because that's kind of a lot of the things that you promote and talk about and push and things like this, and we'll get into like the hunting and all of that kind of thing. But it seems like the survival sort of thing is being brought in with more of the shows like Alone and all of this being more popularized, and more people are wanting to kind of go back to those roots of how we used to live and a little bit more primal existence. Was survival a continuation of this Girl Guides thing again, or is this just like you're just interested in it, or is it?
It's certainly again come in like different ways throughout my career. So I got into like bush tucker and living off the land when I first moved to Uluru. So it was 2012. And at Uluru, behind the rock there is Mutijulu, which is the Indigenous community. And there was a fella there by the name of Frog. And he got that name because he was a great swimmer but a shit runner. Everyone called him Frog. And we were at Camel Farm one day and he started pointing out these pigeons to me. And he's like, Karla, they're good eating. I was like, oh, okay. And I'm like fresh out of Sydney, like zookeeper, animal lover. He's like, they were coming into the farm and they were eating the seeds off the loosened hay and chaff that were feeding the camels. He's like, if you fatten them up, you call me and we'll eat them. And I was like, okay. So here I am for a couple of weeks fattening up these birds. And I was like, I'm going to trap them. And I thought back to a trap that my nana taught me when I was about 6 or 7. She had a little mouse that was running around her veggie patch in Sydney. And she just, a really basic trap. It was actually the pool scoop, the net, with a little piece of wood and a bit of string. And we had a piece of bread with vanilla essence on it and sat it underneath. And I sat there on the porch and the mouse came in and I trapped it. Wow. So I just used the same concept, just did it bigger. And I trapped these birds out at Uluru. And I called Frog, I was like, I've got these birds, come quick, like, I don't know what I'm doing. So it was very eye-opening for me, for him to come over. He brought a kangaroo tail with him. We euthanized the birds, we plucked them, we gutted them, we cooked them underground. And that was my first feast of living off mammals and birds off the land as well. And that was just like mind-boggling.
Crazy.
So then through that, my next job was in the Kimberley running bush tucker tours up there, and I really dove into bush tucker then. So that's been a passion of mine for, over 10 years now. And then through my travels with Nat Geo, I've gone through really remote villages around the world, third world countries, and just seen how primitive, how grounded they are, how reliant on the natural environment, and they are the happiest people in the world. It made me very thankful to live in Australia and the opportunities that we have, but I was like, I want that. I want to get into that space more.
The simplicity of it.
Absolutely. And a big turning point for me too is when I was living in Airlie Beach, we had Cyclone Debbie came through, Category 5, and pretty much flattened Airlie Beach. No power, no water, and the community went into panic. Nobody knew what to do. I'm pretty resilient because I'm a camper and I live out of my 4-wheel drive, so I was fine. It just made me realise, like, wow, people are so disconnected of how to actually survive. So then I started to lean into the survival thing a bit more and just learn things like fly by friction, and then I wanted to get into bow hunting, and I've just followed that more and more over the last couple of years, just with the general interest in it, and I love it. And then Alone was the opportunity to test those things. Like it was things that I just did as a hobby, on my time off, but then to actually be in the wilderness and test them, and do I actually know what I'm talking about? Can I actually survive out there? So
that was really cool to see, I guess. From somebody who's like an outsider, Alone as a show, I kind of was like, I've seen a few of the other countries' versions. I think it's American or whatever. And I was like, these guys must be pro to be able to do this. And or they must already have a certain base knowledge, which is right to a certain extent, right? You have to pass a sort of pre-test screening to be able to be like, look, she's going to be okay if we drop her in the middle of the jungle,
She's not going to starve to death.
Yeah, exactly. So, you kind of go through the screening, you figure out... Did you just see the applications open and go, this is something that I want to do? Is it, again, another opportunity where you're thinking, yeah, I would love to dive into that, why not, all of this kind of thing? Is that what you're thinking?
They actually got in contact with me. So, through my social media, they reached out to me initially for season 1. But I had to turn it down because I was already doing another show. I did $1 Million Island 2 years ago, which is a sort of similar concept. We had 100 Australians that were dumped on an island in Malaysia, and we had to break into teams and build shelters and make fire and forage for food. And it was a bit like Survivor, there was challenges and stuff. So it was a bit of a social element to it. Yeah, for sure. So I was already involved with that, so I had to turn down season 1. And then when you do a TV show, you're locked into a contract for 12 months.
Yeah.
So season 2 came around and I couldn't apply for it.
Yeah.
Season 3 opened up and I went for it and then I got it.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
they planted the seed initially.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't heard or didn't know anything about the show to start with.
Wow.
And then, of course, I watched all the American ones, which I think they've got 12 seasons now. The American ones are amazing.
Yeah, crazy.
And then a good friend of mine, Adam Kavanagh, he's been on Naked and Afraid a couple of times as well.
Yeah.
So was talking to him a lot about, you know, going down that TV road of survival, you know, testing your skills, but it's on TV and, you know, there's always a risk that goes with that as well. But I think what's so appealing about Alone and why the viewers really enjoy it is it's so authentic.
Yeah,
unlike other reality TV shows where they can plot people against each other or they can, you know, cut and change your conversations into other moments.
Yeah.
Alone is just you. And it's your narrative. You talk about what you want to talk to.
Yeah.
Or talk about, rather. And even though half the time the footage is terrible because we're walking up a hill and it's up our nostrils or whatever, people love that because it's authentic and it's real and you can connect with the person. You really feel like you're out there with them.
Yeah, totally agree. And that's a lot of the kind of the insights that you get into someone's thinking. And like the concept of being alone, and like we kind of touched on this before filming, but like connection is such an important part of our lives. And from what I understand, from what I've learned, is that aside from food and water, relationships or connection is like another pivotal part of our health, well-being, happiness, all that kind of thing. And seeing some of the clips of you sort of going through and figuring out by being on your own, you're kind of like, you're cut off from everything. You're able to really spend time with your thoughts, right? And you did like a crazy amount of days, right? How many days did you do?
35 days. It's,
that's insane.
5 weeks.
That's insane. It's like not only just to be on your own for 5 weeks, no contact, no phones, like all of this kind of thing, but like trying to survive, like being on the edge of danger. Like it is danger all the time, right? And seeing everyone sort of how they react to it, the realizations that they have, it is authentic. You do connect with that kind of stuff. You go, man, like maybe I am taking my life for granted. Maybe I am like being too, you know, distant with people or whatever it might be. And I loved your realization about wanting to spend more time with friends and connect and build those relationships. So can you talk to that a little bit and that process?
Yeah, look, I certainly didn't go out there on the land to have an epiphany. I didn't feel like I needed a life-changing moment, and I wasn't expecting it by any means. My job is very social. I'm a very social person. I work in tourism. I love humans. But for me, because my job is so social, when I did return to Australia, I like to spend that time alone. Yeah. You know, hiking, camping, fishing. It was a way for me to recharge.
Yeah.
But then I think it just I got stuck in it. You know, I just did it on my own for so long because it was easier, I guess. And I do work a lot and I don't have a lot of downtime. And it was just the easier option to not have to arrange plans to meet up with somebody, and sometimes plans change and people cancel last minute. And that's just life. Life happens, of course.
It's life, yeah.
But yeah, like you said, when you're out there on the land, you have so much reflection time and you really start to look within of what makes you you, you know, where you feel like you might be going in life. And I just had that light bulb moment of, I'm so lucky to have so many incredible humans in my life. And I never see them.
Yeah,
My best friend in the world, I see every 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, true.
You know, my sisters, I see probably once a year. And I thought that being alone was going to be my strong suit out there. I think because my life generally out here, I have that solitary time. And I was like, easy, like I'm not pining for a partner back home. I don't have kids that I'm missing. I was like, that's going to be a walk in the park.
Yeah.
But it really hit me hard once I was out there for a few weeks. I was like, wow, why am I away from humans so much? Like, what is that disconnect for me? Why have I done that to myself? And I still don't really have an answer why, but I did have the realization of I don't want that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so I really made a conscious effort once I got off the land to spend that time with my family. And to be honest, that was a big tipping point for me of leaving. Like for me to tap out at day 35 was because I knew at that stage I had lost too much weight to win. You know, I had lost all the body condition that I had at only 30 days. And to win a TV show like Alone, it's 60 days minimum. And I was like, I physically don't have the fat to win. So my next goal psychologically, I was like, all right, 45 days. I want to stay till 45 days. But then I was like, for what purpose? purpose, to feed my ego, so I can say, I made it to 45 days. Like, who cares? It's not a win.
Yeah.
I was like, I could sit here and be starving hungry and risk my health and whatever else, or I could go see my family. I can be cooking in my mum's kitchen with her in Tasmania, or I could be catching up with my high school best friends.
Yeah.
You know, I took that time off work for the show. I was like, I can't win. I don't have the body fat for it. So I'm going to use this time the best that I can and go see these humans and reconnect. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
And I haven't stopped.
Yeah.
Every time I'm back in Australia, I'm catching up with everybody that I can.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like a cup of tea for a quick hour, stop in while I'm driving through, or we go and hike a mountain, whatever it is. And it's the best decision I've made.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I love the thought about, like, what am I doing this for? It's like, yes, you've gone in there, you've done what you said you're initially going to do, try your best, get to the point of, you know, where you're going to tap out. How many times do you think about tapping out? Like, what's that thought like?
To be honest, for the first 4 weeks, I was bouncing off the walls. You know, I was having the best time ever. And even when the med team would come out and check on you, they're like, how are you so sprightly? Like, you haven't eaten for days. Like, how are you like this? I'm like, it's fun. Like, I'm loving it. You know, because this task is building shelter and making a trap and looking for food and just being in nature. And
all the things you love anyway.
Yeah, I did not think about tapping out once until I got to about day 28, 29. And I was on the last of my food, which was an eel. And then day 30 was my last meal. And then it was cold or windy, and I'm somebody who loves the sun and, you know, being outdoors and having that sun on my skin. And it had been a few days. But I knew I was in trouble when I was sitting on my floor in my shelter and I was sitting next to my fire. And I was like, feeling so... Oh, thank you. I loved it. Yeah, I worked pretty hard. I was feeling so unmotivated. And I was like, all right, get up and make a bird trap. You saw a bird out there yesterday that came down close. Go get some berries, make a bird trap.
Yeah.
By the third day of me telling myself to get up and make a bird trap and I hadn't really moved, I was like, I am in trouble here. Like, my headspace just plummeted.
Yeah.
I was cold, it was windy, it was rainy. I then hadn't eaten. I realised I didn't have the body fat to win. And I'm like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. I'm like, I've got so much more out of this experience I could have ever hoped for, apart from the money. The money would have been nice, but that's not why I was doing it either. You know, everything I do in my life is for the experience.
Of course.
And I just, you know, I was satisfied.
Yeah.
I was like, and to this day, I have zero regrets of tapping out. You know, I had such a fun experience. I had that epiphany moment out there of reconnecting with humans in my life. I got to test my skills. I got to have that showcase to Australia and now the world. Opportunities have come from that as well. And I just had such a good time. Yeah. And I remember the day of tapping out, it was such relief and waiting for the boat to come. I'm like, I'm so happy. Yeah. Like, I'm good to go. Yeah. Like, I was so happy to have a shower and to eat as well.
It's like, do you have to be careful with the meals that you eat post coming out? Because I imagine coming from a state of not, you know, eating anything, you've got to be really careful about how your body comes back to health. Yeah. What was that process like?
It is super important. So you can get something called refeeding syndrome. So it happened to people coming out of concentration camps and those that have suffered from anorexia. Yeah. If you go and eat carbs in particular too quickly, it has this enzyme reaction in your body and can be fatal. Wow. So to start with, when we got back into, I guess, civilization, it's just bone broth. Yeah. You know, you haven't eaten for such a long time, is slowly getting your guts ready to start accepting food again.
Awesome.
And then really small portions of protein and vegetables, no carbs, and that for a couple of days. And then slowly you can have like one Vita-Wheat or one little bit of carb and just slowly build it up that way. So they regulate you, they watch you, they're testing your bloods and your blood pressure and just monitoring you day and night. And you're under supervision.
Yeah, cool.
Which you need to, because it can be really dangerous. You know, particularly those people that were out there double the length of time than I was out there for 2 months and eating very little. You know, I lost 18 kilos in total over that 5 weeks, half a kilo a day.
And, like, you're not massive.
No, so I'm sitting at about 62 kilos right now. I got up to 72 before I went out, and I dropped down to 54 when I left the land. Yeah. So, it's a massive shift, and it has its effect on your body too. Like, my hair's still quite thin, and I still have some issues eating certain foods now. It's been probably about 10 months since we filmed. Yeah, wow. So your body still takes a while to heal, and most people I've spoken to that have done a similar thing, either alone or naked and afraid, they said 12 months minimum before your body bounces back to where it should be.
Goodness me. And like you said, you just ease back into things and that kind of thing.
And even just socially too, like for me to get my phone back, that was overwhelming. Like anxiety through the roof, like all the messages and emails and stuff that came in, and even just having conversations with people. Like once I got out, I went and stayed with my mum and my sister, and they're throwing questions at you, and one, you don't want to tell them too much, and you got like a non-disclosure thing. You can't say too many things, but just general conversation. I was like, it's so overwhelming, and I'd have to remove myself away and take a breather and then slowly get back into the world and be social. And it took a couple of weeks for sure.
I can imagine because you've gone from one extreme to the other in so many different aspects. Eating, socializing, like comfort, all of these things, right? So the fast-paced world that we're in, where people are firing, you got 3 different people talking at once or whatever, sharing this conversation, fast-paced. You're like, I have not heard this for weeks, and you've just been listening to the birds or whatever, or your own voice talking and stuff. So I imagine that and the phone thing as well, like you really realize what it's doing to us and like what impact it has on our lives. And then there's people you're constantly on it. I'm bad enough as it is trying to just share what I'm doing and like, you know what it's like. You're just sharing and stories and posts and stuff. Like it's hard enough. But once you've been disconnected and you kind of go, whoa, like, maybe we don't really need it. We can be connected and all of this sort of thing at the same time. That's crazy. I know that you've spoken about Alone a lot and you've done, they have all their own content and stuff. So I'd love people to go and check out more of that and dive into that rabbit hole. But I want to move and talk a little bit about hunting and bow hunting in particular, because that's something that you do, right? Like the bow and arrow form of hunting seems to be like one of the most primitive things. Like it's almost like a spear, right? You're just kind of going back to that sort of day one ancestral eating and form of eating. And you've spoken about being such an animal lover, as am I, but I'm also a big meat eater, right? And a lot of my mission is to try and encourage people to realize where their food comes from. Now, obviously, I'm focused more on the gardening, the soil, and all of that kind of thing. But the soil also feeds the animals that we then eat, right? And because we're so disconnected from the process of coming from the paddock or the wild to our plates, you get to this point where you're so unaware of the process, and like you're getting a steak, which is one small part of this animal, and you don't even think twice about where it's come from, the animal, the life it lived, etc. So I'm really big on trying to work out where my meats come from. Is it raised in the right way? Is it like, all of the above in terms of that kind of thing. Taking that to the next level is hunting for your own food. And traditionally, in the past, people really respect the whole animal. It's a really big output of your energy and skills to be able to get that animal. It's also what happens in the wild. Like it's everywhere in nature. It's the way that the food chain works. So everyone does get caught up on like, hey, like hunting seems bad. You're going and killing an animal, but it's happening so much on such an enormous scale in way worse conditions in our mainstream eating. So prefacing it all with that, how do you feel about hunting? Why do you like doing it? And what does it do for you in terms of the going out there, the camaraderie with the girls that you've been doing it with, to get that animal, that feeling of working hard, achieving, getting the animal, and then really respecting every part of it to feed and nourish you and other people?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head that there is a disconnection. People don't understand where their food comes from. And that's not just meat, it's veggies too. You go into Woolies and you get it off the shelf or out of the freezer. So I think for me, even though I'm an animal lover, and that has been a touchy subject for me, being in bow hunting and working for National Geographic as well, is it's connecting not just with the animal, it's connecting with the land, it's connecting with myself and my own instincts as well. And I think that everybody would be surprised that if you were put in a situation out there that you had to go and fend for your own food, your instincts will kick in. I mean, definitely something like bow hunting takes strategy and training and persistence and, guidance for me to get into it when I first started as well. And I'm still pretty green in the sport. And for me, it's, like you said, knowing where the animal has come from. We now know it's all through the media of hormones and, chemicals and, chemicals of parasite eradication for the animal, just things that the stock have to go through for it to be paddock to plate, essentially. Yeah. it's terrifying, you know, and we're now seeing the health issues that we're having that can be linked to these things as well.
Totally.
And as an animal lover, some of these animals, what they go through is the stress of being mustered and stuck on trucks and then put into feeding lots and pumped full of grain for their weight to come up for sale. Like, that's not healthy for the animal too. If people who are meat eaters, you know, don't think about where that food is coming from, if they had the chance to go and see how these animals can be treated, and the standards in Australia are pretty bloody good compared to the rest of the world, it would totally change their perception and likely make them a vegetarian, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, when I'm out there hunting, I know that that goat or that pig or that deer has lived a wild life. It's been in its herd, it's been grazing on natural food that hasn't had anything added to its life that shouldn't be there. It has no idea that I'm there.
Yeah.
It is a humane kill. We won't take the shot unless it's going to be the right hit and the animal's not put in pain whatsoever. And that, like you said, that happens in nature. I would rather have an arrow put through me and it's gone straight away than be chased down by a pack of wolves or something, you know?
Exactly right.
It's nowhere near as graphic and as, you know, bloodthirsty or anything that people think is. There's such a stigma attached with hunting. And I think that's something that's really important for women in hunting now is we're helping to close that gap and remove that stigma. And for me to being an animal person and in my line of work, like I've had male hunters reach out to me on socials and be like, you're the perfect person to help close that gap, open up people's minds. And because we don't waste anything, we use all of the meat, you know, we tan the hides, you can use the, like Achilles tendons for string, you can use the intestines for making cordage and stuff as well. Trying to use every part of the animal, and what's left we give to the dogs. You know, nothing goes to waste at all. And it is hard being an animal lover. The first time I took an animal's life, it was upsetting, you know, and I did feel very like, wow, like I've just done that. But you have such an appreciation for that animal, and to then dress it and take it back and eat it, you're like, it's empowering. It's empowering that I know that I can rely on me to survive out there. And like I said before, your instincts just kick in and something just goes, this feels right. Like this is what we were put on the planet to do. This is how we're supposed to survive. It's how we're supposed to operate. We're just so removed from it.
Yeah, that's really cool. And you're also targeting like pest or invasive species. So that's like you're also doing a little bit of a job to help the ecosystem.
100%. Like I'll never be a trophy hunter. For me, it's only ever feral eradication. So it's animals that wreak havoc, particularly things like pigs. You know, we have millions of pigs in Queensland alone, and they spread disease and they destroy waterways and spread invasive plants and things as well. So to help eradicate invasive species and have a food source and connect me to nature too. And it's not just about the hunt. It's, you know, the kangaroos and the wombats that we see while we're out there, or it's the butterflies or the sunrise, and it's the whole experience is just about being in nature and hiking and the people that you do it with. So we run women's bow hunting camps.
That's awesome.
And it's just such a supportive environment for women to get into bow hunting, because how do you get into anything in this life unless you know someone, unless you grew up doing it or you have a partner that does it? So we're just trying to create this space for women to come and learn these sorts of skills. It's not intimidating. It's an area that they can come and try and ask questions and, you know, maybe struggle and fail and try again. And it's just been such a really supportive place and just team building. Like you bond so quickly. Some of these girls who I've met once, they're now some of my best friends. You've only been on 1 or 2 hunts, but it feels like you've known each other forever. It's just so supportive.
You go through something together as well and that kind of thing. So, like, if someone is wanting to try and get into it, where do they go?
Yeah, so myself and my friend Sarah, we've started, it's called Collective Pursuit. It's more Sarah's thing. I've got like a survival aspect to it.
Cool.
So generally what happens is we'll get girls that come in, never touched a bow before. The first day is just basic fundamentals of archery and just do target practice. The second day we're out there in the field. We have been doing it in the Hunter Valley, and it'll be Sarah with a girl that's done a little bit of hunting and then the newbie watching and just observing. So there's no pressure. You just get to watch and see and get a feel for it. And then the next day, it's your turn. Awesome. And it's all guided, fully supported. And then if you do get an animal, then we dress it, we bring it back, and we eat it for dinner that night. Like it's the whole thing coming around, and it just builds confidence in women so much as well. And it's not just for women. Like we can organise it for guys as well. But, yeah, it's an empowering feeling. It really is.
I think it is important for people like yourself to do something that might typically not be seen as something that women do, to change the stigma and be like, look, we need to survive too. We need to go out there and do all of these things. And like I always refer back to like the lioness does all the hunting, and the male lion just lies there and does
Yeah.
nothing. So it's kind of like there are plenty of room for our females to go out and do that kind of thing. That's amazing. And what's the thought process now in terms of like where you're trying to take these things? I know you mentioned you're now moving into more of the survival stuff. You're doing some more like survival workshops and teaching people and that kind of thing. Also, you mentioned that you don't know where you're going to be in like a fair little while. So what's the focus? What's top of mind at the moment? And where are you trying to move things at the moment?
Again, I'm kind of just going with the flow and what life's opportunities are coming my way. So I'm really leaning more into the bushcraft, I guess, instruction. So off the back of a loan through Gordon Dedman. So he does bushcraft survival and he runs courses just for civilians. So people who just want to learn bushcraft.
Yeah.
So I kind of jumped on the bandwagon with him and I'll be assisting him with those camps. And then I think, like you said before, people are starting to feel the need and pull and drive to just reconnect, to rewild. And having these courses available for people to come out bush, meet like-minded people, sleep under the stars, and just learn the basic fundamentals. And I don't think that people need to be doomsday preppers or anything like that, but just having the basic skills, it just builds your confidence. You know, things go wrong when you're going bushwalking. Things go wrong when you're going camping. You have breakdowns.
Yeah.
Just to have that basic skill set that should be taught in schools.
Yeah, I know.
And it's becoming more and more popular, which I think people are just... Yeah, like I said before, just wanting to rewild. And that's something I'm really feeling like I want to help. I love teaching. I love sharing my passion and my knowledge. And I think that's a really great way to do it.
That's wicked. How do you find Australia compared to other countries in terms of like availability to do these types of things? I feel like we're a relatively wild country. There's plenty of things and there's so many different species here that you don't find elsewhere. Have you done any hunting or anything in other parts of the world, or have you spoken about trying to do more survival things in other parts of the world? And here we're very lucky in terms of the fact that the climate, you know, you're not facing ice too much in places. Like, where were you for alone?
We were Tasmania.
Tasmania. So cold.
Yeah, got down to, I think, -2 was the coldest that was there.
So cold, right? But that's not Alaska or anything like this, right? But how do you find, Australia stacking up in terms of the rest of the world in this kind of, these fields of outdoors, adventure, that kind of thing?
To be honest, we're actually very behind. Which is surprising for such a rugged country that has, pretty harsh elements, particularly more on the heat side of things than freezing cold. In terms of bushcraft and survival and hunting, we're very much behind the States. We're very much behind Europe. We're behind New Zealand. Particularly New Zealand, they grew up with that being the norm of foraging. So I think it's pretty new for us. In terms of survival schools, bushcraft, there's not a lot going on here in Australia. It's slowly building and developing. I haven't done any hunting outside of New Zealand and Australia. I'd love to go over to the States.
Yeah, cool.
That's certainly on the cards. I think in Australia we do have the upper hand that we don't have a hunting season. We can hunt all year round. I think people will be surprised at how much bush tucker and food is available out there.
Oh, totally.
There's ridiculous amounts of things out there once you know what to start to look for. And we're seeing more and more Indigenous communities collecting, gathering and selling, off their land as well, which I think is fabulous. It supports the Indigenous community, and we get to have all these amazing herbs and spices and foods and treats and things in our daily lives now as well. We're up and coming. But this is the thing too, is like Australia is a pretty harsh country, but anyone from overseas sees us as such a dangerous place to be. But I think the complete opposite. Like, I think we have one of the safest countries in the world. Like, I would happily sleep on the ground in the bush in Australia because nothing will actively hunt you out. Nothing, like, we don't have lions, tigers, cougars, hyenas, cheetahs. We don't have anything like that. Don't touch a snake or spider, they won't touch you. If you're in the north, stay out of the water and the crocodiles won't affect you. And in place dingoes are somewhat dangerous as Fraser Island, which is our own fault for that happening. Our country's really safe.
That's very true.
Really safe.
You're right, because I grew up in New Zealand. I lived here for a while now and originally from the UK. So there's so many people in my life, or people that I've known and grown up with, that have this idea of Australia. And my wife's English, and when she first moved over as a kid, just pictured, just kangaroos everywhere, snakes and spiders like live hanging off all the ceilings and stuff. But it's not like that. And you know, somewhere like South Africa or the Amazon, or like you've got these crazy places where literally even the plants are really trying to kill you, like so much. So you're right. And then I'm kind of thinking about that bush tucker as well. Like it's massive here, that indigenous knowledge that we're disconnected from, stupidly, because you know it's everywhere. Like you could take a walk through the bush with an indigenous elder, and they will go, "Oh, that's for this, that's for this, that's for this," and we're just walking past, going, "That's sticks and bushes and trees and whatever," and we're missing that. And I feel like more people that highlight that for Australia, for our country, showing what we've got here and everything, just kind of builds that awareness, builds more understanding of the land, more connection to the land, and that kind of thing. So it's really been something that I've kind of been warming to, the native side of things, native plants, native animals, native bush tucker. And being from New Zealand and other countries, you kind of just come here and you go, wow, it's like not how it seems on, you know, on the postcard or whatever it is on the TV. It's like, it is what it is. So yeah, I really like that, and I really value your kind of contribution to all of this and what you're bringing to everybody. Do you see yourself now as a bit of a, like not a figurehead, but someone that people look up to? And how do you, like, I find a lot of meaning being able to help people with stuff, right? And purpose and that kind of thing. Do you find now that you've put yourself out there online and kind of said, like, this is, you know, what I do, and bringing awareness to this stuff, do you find that you're getting a lot of meaning from helping others and seeing others get into it and sharing that?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a journey, and it's something that has been sort of hard to get your head around a bit. Is like, I definitely feel like sort of imposter syndrome a little bit at times. Yeah. Because I just think I'm an average person that just likes to do random things and, you know, follow my passion. But it really hits home when I hear, you know, maybe a woman will come up to me and be like, can you come talk to my teenage daughter about what you do? Or, you know, last night, you know, there was a young girl was like, I really want to get into bow hunting. How do I, you know, take those first steps? It's really humbling and beautiful that I can share my love and passion just to help guide people in that way. Yeah. It took me a little while to sort of get my head around, like, why do these people even want to hear me talk or whatever? But it's just sharing that knowledge, you know, and knowledge is power. And if it helps people build the confidence to take that step to do something they really want to do, and in turn, that's going to help the environment, whether it's, you know, planting native plants or looking after wildlife, whatever it is. It's a really beautiful thing, and I'm really grateful that people care at all, that I have something to say, and it's nice that I get to share that with people. I love it, and I'm always up for a chat, and, you know, I'll always learn something from other people having these conversations as well, and every day's a school day, and it's the more people we get involved, the bigger the community grows and the more beneficial it is for everyone. So
and that brings it back to the start of the conversation, sharing your passion, being passionate about something and kind of going with it. What's one sort of last thing on that, what was the decision to start posting all of your content online? Were you always just posting, this is what I'm doing in my life, and it kind of just eventuated into everything? Or are you kind of going, I want to make something of this, I'm going to start sharing some content?
No, it's definitely not that. Like, for me, it was just, this is my life, and it's just fun to share what I'm doing. Awesome. Even still, I'm really hit and miss with my social media. Like, sometimes if I'm going somewhere new, I'll be really on it and sharing my stories, and I'll be on top of it for 2-3 weeks. Then I'm like, do you know what? I'm sick of my phone being in my hand. Like, put it away. Yeah. For me, I'm not a content creator. I don't want it to change my lifestyle. If I can hold my phone up while I'm doing what I love anyway, or sit it in the corner while I'm making that fire, I'll do it. But I'm not going to change my life around the camera or what I'm doing. In saying that, I really love presenting. I really love being in that space and, you know, having, you know, podcasts and different interviews and things. And I do enjoy that part of it as well, but I don't want that to control my life. I want that to be a part of it, but then I can switch off and just do my nature-based thing. So I certainly don't want to make my lifestyle revolving around posting and social media. I don't have YouTube. I don't like the pressure of every Sunday at 6 p.m. to do episode. Like, that's not me at all. Yeah. And my life is not structured like that. Like, my life is always all over the place, overseas, constantly stopping and changing. So it's just something that has to fit in and around my normal life. I'm not going to revolve my life around it, essentially.
True. Do you think you'll ever, like, stay put?
I get asked this question all the time. Look, as I'm starting to mature, I am feeling the urge to be a bit more grounded somewhere, because I want to have chickens and have a veggie patch, and I want to go fishing and live off the land, essentially. If I can't sustain myself enough hunting, I want to have my own cattle and have my own sheep and whatnot. But I'm such a gypsy and I love traveling so much that that's a really challenging thing for me. So I think for me, I'm kind of leaning more towards, like, if I find a partner and he has a stable base and it's somewhere for me to come home to, and that is what we grow and develop together, but I can still, like, disappear for a month every now and then and go do my gallivanting across the world and then come back to that base. I'm starting to crave that a bit more, which is the first time ever that I am craving it. So
it's like putting down your roots a little bit.
Yeah.
But also, I would find it very difficult if I'm constantly on the move with these new experiences. And, like, for instance, bringing it back to music again as well, like, you see with people that are constantly performing to large crowds, or they're constantly going out and doing these concerts, they're going and getting this big hit of dopamine, this big, like, flood of adrenaline and experience and all of that kind of thing, which I presume is a big part of what you get as well. Like, you're going and you're getting this big adrenaline hit from being somewhere or whatever. And then coming back home to your sort of quiet little house feels very unsettling, I guess. And then when they finish their touring or traveling or whatever it might be, there's this missing, like, dopamine hit that they're not getting anymore. Is that something that you see or feel or relate to at all?
Big time.
Yeah.
For sure. I think for me, when I'm not go, 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 I have really struggled to slow down, to relax, to not feel guilty for not doing things.
Yeah.
You know, for me to have a down day or a relaxing day, I'm like, I could have hiked a mountain, or I could have gone kayaking, or I could have built this, or I could have done something.
Yeah.
And it's really taken me, since alone, to change my perspective, to go, it's okay to relax. Go sit in the sun. Go read a book. Potter around the garden. And I really enjoy that downtime now as well. And it's made me appreciate both.
Yeah.
You know, once I do have that more relaxing time, you know, I usually only do it for a few weeks at a time. And I'm like, itchy feet, I'm ready to go again. But it just has made me slow down. I am a fast-paced person. I'm always chasing the next best adventure. And I still love that part of me.
Yeah.
But I am learning to relax and just have gratitude and, just appreciate nature and slow down and not have to be doing things all the time.
Being okay with just being like, look, if that happens, then great. If it doesn't, then that's also okay.
Yeah, and not feeling guilty for relaxing. That's something that I've really had to change my mind on, and now I really enjoy that downtime. Yeah,
I relate to that in a way of, like, being sort of go, go, go with businessy, it's not only business, but passion, you know, things that I like. And certainly having a little boy has helped that. Just be like, look, if you're just sitting there staring at him for, like, a few hours, that's great.
Soak it in.
That's a whole experience in itself. And I'm thinking, you know, I could be doing this, or I've got to do this, or all these other things. And whether it's, you know, he's obviously going to take priority over everything, but whether it's just kind of going, I'm just interested in reading this book, or having a wander around these beautiful gardens that we're in today, like, it's just those little moments, even though they're not necessarily productive, they are productive in a way of it's feeding your soul in so many different ways. So I kind of, like, I see that in somebody like you, where you're always going and going and going, and it's like, is that some pressure you put on yourself, or is it, like, just you're happy in that life? It's probably a bit of both, I guess. Look,
it's a really hard one to answer. I don't know where it came from, of me feeling like I need to be productive and achieving and doing things all the time. I've definitely had it since a child.
Yeah.
But it's also my happiest, when I'm at my peak of happiness, when I'm go, 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 because I am achieving and I'm doing fun, cool things, you know? Exactly. So it's a really hard thing to be okay with not achieving, when I know that's where I get those endorphins and the pump and enjoyment and whatnot. But it's finding appreciation. And for me, it's slowing down for my body, for my mind, reading a book, doing some breath work, having an ice bath. Yeah. It's finding the balance between the two, for sure. Recharging.
Amazing. Yeah, exactly right. Okay, lastly, where can people find you? Obviously, I found you on Instagram, so all the links I'm going to be linking in the thing. But where would you like people to go to find more out about what you're doing? And then also, that, like, getting into hunting, these types of things. Where are we sending people?
Yeah, probably best thing is just through my social media because like I said before, I don't have a lot of platforms that I use. Instagram is the main thing that I really use, so just Karla in the wild.
Awesome.
And then through that, you can get in touch if you want to do some bow hunting,
Cool.
or come do expedition work, or go hiking or camping or anything. So I'm, again, off the back of Alone and having that epiphany moment, I'm so open to new connections and new friends, and if anybody wants to catch up and do anything outdoors, I'm keen for it. So
That's amazing.
please do reach out, and I'm going to be travelling through your town at some point because I'm always on the go. So always keen to do things with new people and make the most of it.
I'm going to try and take you up on that at one point.
Sure.
Once I'm a little bit more stabilised as a dad. But I'm
not
going
a fresh baby.
I want to take you up on that as well, because I think it's something that we all need to just have that moment to get out and be wild a little bit. And I'm wild enough kind of looking, but I just need to go and do it myself. So awesome.
So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. What an amazing conversation. I apologize if there was any of the background noise. The hardworking team here at the Botanical Gardens obviously have got so much work that they need to be doing constantly. Trimming trees, branches, mulching, leaf blowing, getting it ready for the day ahead. So, with a little bit of rain, we had to improvise to try and make sure that we've got a good spot and find somewhere where we could do it and, try and manage all the sound. So hopefully it wasn't too bad for you, and I'll try and edit out as much of that as possible. But please go and check out Karla's links. I'm going to put them in the description, in the show notes below, and you'll be able to find them. Go and follow her. She's an absolutely fascinating person. I'm so, so glad that I got to meet her. So grateful for her time. And I think you guys will agree that we need more women like Karla. So thank you to her. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you could leave the show a review, that helps us find more people. And if you've got any suggestions, who should I chat to next? Who else is fascinating in this space or in gardening, in nature in general? Who should I have on the show? Let me know. But I really appreciate you for listening, for watching, and very much look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Bye for now.